show.
Kamala Harris made history as the first woman, first Black American, and first Asian American to become vice president. In some ways, the fanfare around her being sworn in overshadowed Joe Biden taking the oath of office. But after less than a year in the post, she is a historically unpopular VP. Where once she was always in the frame during Joe Biden's major addresses, she has been notably absent from the president's side of late. Her diminished public presence has even prompted one US columnist to nickname her the incredible disappearing vice president. Kamala Harris has an approval rating of 28%, down from 50% when she first took office. It appears to make her the least popular vice president at this stage of an administration in at least 50 years. For context, Mike Pence's approval ratings were above 40% at the same stage of Donald Trump's administration. So why is she seen to be doing so badly? Well, there's a feeling she's not delivered on the two biggest tasks that Joe Biden has entrusted her with. First, tackling the root causes of the migrant crisis. Despite a record spike of people coming into the US, she did not go to visit Mexico and Guatemala until June, 6 months after starting the job. During an interview, she gave an incredibly tone-deaf response when asked why she had so far declined to see the conditions on the border firsthand.
This whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
And her public comments once she was finally in Central America surprised many. She had previously called for a more compassionate approach to those arriving at the southern border, but said this:
To folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border, do not come. The United States will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border.
The second key task she's been given, and one critical to Democrats' electoral hopes, is voting rights. In June, the Senate killed a House-passed voting rights bill. The Democrats lacked the 60 votes to overcome a Republican filibuster. Harris's aides claim she is working hard behind the scenes to deliver the White House's agenda, but without any tangible actions for the public to cling to. Some have questioned how much impact she is having on the issue. She has made very few forays to Capitol Hill to build Republican support for voting legislation. And this highlights another issue for the vice president. Unlike Biden, who spent decades in the Senate, reaching across the aisle as a senator, Harris only spent a few years in the Senate while busy running for president. It's why some wonder whether she has the experience or the political acumen to secure bipartisan support for crucial legislation. Harris has also faced an exodus of senior staff amid reports of dysfunction within her office. The most recent high-profile departure is Simone Sanders, the vice president's spokesperson and her most prominent public defender. To help her course correct, Harris has since brought in crisis communications veterans to help her define her role and rebrand her public image. As well as her lack of experience in Washington, Harris has come under fire for her lack of visibility. She was a pillar during Biden's early televised speeches, but has often been missing from his side in recent months. That change has led to speculation about their relationship behind closed doors. Biden and Harris do not have a long political or personal history. In fact, the vice president once blindsided Biden when they were competing for the Democratic nomination, attacking his position on racial integration programs during a high-profile debate.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country.
White House aides have privately suggested that Harris has brought some of the criticism upon herself, with clumsy responses during interviews. It has made it difficult, they say, for Biden to jump to her defense when he faces his own political crises. Others argue that the dip in her approval ratings are the natural consequence of the weight of expectation that engulfed her historic nomination. After all, taking on the job of being number 2 can automatically diminish your profile. The polling seems damning, but is all the criticism fair? The White House has blamed sexism and racism for the attacks against Harris.
I do think there has been some attacks that are beyond because of her identity.
Despite the president's spokeswoman issuing a public defense, Members of Harris's inner circle have also blamed White House aides for her troubles. They argue she is being sidelined rather than positioned effectively by Biden, who knows the challenges of being number 2 better than anyone. They have also been keen to highlight her accomplishments, which they say are not always appreciated by a Washington press corps who compare her against her white male predecessors. They point in particular to her efforts to encourage African Americans to get vaccinated against COVID, an achievement they believe has been under-recognised. And despite all the criticism, some say her low profile could be a deliberate way to strike a delicate balance. Associating herself too closely with the struggling president could harm her own future plans. But on the other hand, any hint of further political ambition right now could damage her standing with the Biden administration. Has the public lost faith in Kamala Harris?
She's not doing anything that she's supposed to, that she's not supporting the United States, the people, or the president for that matter.
Or is this a brief blip under the crushing weight of expectation around her?
She's worked her way up to get to where she is and give her a chance to do her job.
For now, at least, it seems she is no longer Joe Biden's heir apparent. A number of Democrats seem prepared to challenge her for the nomination should Biden not seek re-election in 2024. But with 3 years left to reverse course, it is too early to count Harris out.